Today I'm going to talk about the importance of having the right message and the right gospel that we're preaching. Jesus said in Matthew 24:14 that this gospel of the kingdom will be preached unto all nations, and then the end shall come. So there are many who are going around trying to fulfill that to bring Jesus back. But the problem is, these guys are preaching the wrong gospel. They're preaching the gospel of John Calvin and Martin Luther, who were students of Augustine, who was a Manichaean Gnostic. So they had the concept of being forgiven of sin by grace, but not liberated from sin by grace. You see, so it's a different gospel. It's kind of like Ahimaaz, the runner, who, when Joab conquered the enemies of David, then he had the message, but he didn't have the whole message, that Absalom was killed. And that's what David wanted to hear. So he wanted to run with the message, and Joab said, no, I don't need you to run. I have a guy, this Cushite guy, this black guy, who's going to run. But he insisted on running. So he ran to David, and he got to David, and David said, hey, what's the message? And he says, oh, we've won the battle. But he didn't have the message that he wanted to hear about what happened to Absalom. And so that's what a lot of people do. And the guy that was the slow guy, that was running slower and more deliberately, he got there and he had the right message. He had the whole message. And so we have to have the full gospel, the whole gospel that we're preaching to people, which is not just the forgiveness of sin, but liberation from sin. It's kind of like telling a person who's in prison that they've been pardoned of their sin or their crime, and so you go and you tell them, and they say, oh, you've been pardoned. I got good news. You've been pardoned. Oh, okay. So I've been pardoned. So when do I get out of jail? Oh, no, you'll never get out of jail. You're going to be in jail until you die, and then you're resurrected. That's the gospel that they're preaching now. And it's not the true gospel of Christ of liberation from sin, because they have their doctrine wrong and they misunderstand grace. Because what grace does is grace enables you to be free from sin, because it reveals the cross and the goodness of God and causes you to love the Lord in your heart. When you love the Lord, you'll keep His commandments, and you're liberated from sin. Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free from sin. So that's the true gospel. So the gospel that these guys have is the false one, and there's a lot of false gospel preachers. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to understand the full gospel. We have an article and a video on the full gospel. Please look at that.